Let's start off with the fact that we saw a negative day coming through on the NSE 20. Once again, a loss of almost 1% is what we saw. Tell us what's happening on the volumes front, because prior to the referendum, which took place last week Wednesday, we saw an uptick in volume. So what are we looking at here now?
At the moment, we're still seeing decreased volumes in the market, especially from the foreign investors who are still waiting to see the bearing that the market will take going forward, especially after the promulgation of the referendum, which was passed last week. So we do expect to see decreased volume in the market at the moment.
Well, what volumes are we looking at here? Because we saw around 786 million passing through the market in Tuesday's session. What came through today?
Today we saw a total of about 300 transactions traded by the foreign investors, which is a positive signal to the market, showing that we are still seeing demand coming through. So there is a lot of optimism even from the foreign investors. And in the local retail market, we are still yet to see the retailers come back, because most of them are taking profits at the moment.
Well, just taking a look at the markets from a technical aspect, we know that technical analysis is pointing to the fact that we're seeing markets slightly overbought, but many investors out there think that there's still room to move to the upside. What is your view?
My view is that there will be greed coming into the market at the moment as a result of the passage of the new constitution. So we do expect, technically we do expect the prices to go up beyond their fundamental values. But then again, we should be able to see a market rectification at some point, probably towards the end of third quarter.
Looking at KCB and of course the rights issue, 83% subscribed, 12.45 billion shillings is what we saw being raised, and we know they had a target of around 15 billion shillings. Let's take a look at KCB, given the fact that we did see the share price increasing quite dramatically in last week's session.
Correct. They were unable to meet their target of 15 billion shillings. This caused the stock price to decrease by around 4% in today's trading session. They were able to raise about 12 billion shillings. And the reason why there wasn't 100% uptick was the fundamental value of the stock. In our estimation, the value of the stock was a bit overpriced, and therefore there were no uptick from the institutional investors. So we do expect the stock to come under pressure in the trading sessions to come.
We know that government is set to release a government infrastructure bond worth around 31.6 billion shillings. It's quite interesting to note that infrastructure spend is on the rise in Kenya. Let's take a look at the likes of Bamburi Cement, which came under pressure in the most recent results. We had profit before tax down around 20%. We had Athi River Mining, though, profits before tax coming in 16% higher. How do you expect these stocks to fare going forward, given that there's such a huge focus on infrastructure spend?
The companies in the cement production sector of the economy are one of the sectors that are going to perform well in the third and fourth quarter going forward as a result of the increased infrastructural development in the country. So we do expect these counters to do well, actually outperform some of the counters in the sector, because there's increased infrastructural development in the country.
Are you putting a buy on these shares, given the fact that Bamburi, as we said, came under pressure over the last few weeks, and of course it's all said in the results as well? Are you expecting an uptick for these companies?
Yes, I do expect an uptick because fundamentally they're still strong counters, and therefore we do consider them as buy. So anyone taking buy positions for long term, then they should be able to gain a good return on them.
Looking at the first half results for the likes of Nation Media, 51% increase before tax. Of course, we know we've been talking about the stock for a couple of sessions now. We've got a PE ratio of around 20%. Tell us what your views are on this company, given the fact that we are starting to see it rally over the last couple of days. This is despite the fact that we saw muted trade prior to the earnings.
Yes, immediately after releasing their half-year results, which were up by 15%, the pre-tax profit, we saw the price rally from at around 142 shillings to about 153 shillings, which was an upside turn of about 7%. But in yesterday's trading session, it declined by about 3%. But going forward, we do expect it to continue performing very well, and especially both in the short term and in the medium term.
Just looking at the media scenario that is playing out in East Africa, we know that competition is one of the big issues as well. Tell us what you see playing out there and whether you think that Nation Media does provide a great investment opportunity for investors in that region.
I think one of the key drivers of Nation Media is their product differentiation in the market. They've been enhancing their products. They've been coming up with digital products. And I think going forward, these are the key drivers of Nation Media in terms of enhancing their content capacity.
Turning our attention now to the likes of Safaricom, because we saw it hit around 615 last week sometime. Where do you see the stock going from these levels? Because it's really been volatile and perhaps stuck in quite a tight range over the last few months.
This has been driven especially by the foreign investors, and therefore we should expect more volatility as the foreign investors take a wait-and-see attitude going forward. Therefore, we do expect it still to continue trading at past its 6 shillings, probably going to about 620, but the stock is still volatile in the medium term.